find that as I've gotten older, I have a lot less free time, and as a result, I tend to gravitate towards more concise, well-contained experiences. Whether it be a 90-minute movie, a 12-episode show, or a 6-hour video game, I want to be in and back out before I have time to take a break. Because if I do take a break, I could never come back, or come back so long after I started that I'd prefer to just start from the beginning again. Castlevania has always been a favorite of mine. I started playing Symphony of the Night with my dad around the time I started forming memories, and I continued playing all kinds of Metroidvania games since then. Luna Nights is one of the best Metroidvania games I have ever played. It is short, but because of this, it maintains a great pace. It's always giving you something new to experience before the last item or power-up gets old. The bosses are tough, the world is gorgeous, and the gameplay loop is very, very fun. Also, the most important part of all, you can slow down and completely stop time. I've 100% explored the map and beat the game twice now. First things first, this game is sprite-based and 2D. So obviously, it's not very graphically demanding. But because it is an action game, responsive controls and a stutter-free experience are extremely important. If the recommended computer specs on the Steam page won't convince you that you can run it, here is Luna Nights running buttery smooth on my old HP DM4 laptop from 2012. And look, I'm playing it on the Submarine Die controller. What can I say? They had a skill issue down there. I would have made it out fine. Starting the game, the first thing I noticed was the size of the sprites. The player character, Sakuya, looks really big due to a mix of inaccessible screen space and cramped platform placement. Later areas are less cramped once you find movement upgrades like double jump. From the get-go, Sakuya can glide and use snail time to activate slow motion for a brief moment. The most important ability comes just a few screens later, the stopwatch. It allows Sakuya to freeze time temporarily and can be reused after it recharges for a few seconds, denoted by the sick looking HUD up there. It was a good idea to have the default attack be a big projectile. Since knives are thrown in sets of 3, it's harder to miss enemies, but even if only one hits, the others continue along their path and can hit a different enemy or even discover a hidden breakable wall. MP is used for all attacks, so no MP means no fighting back. This encourages being sure of where you want to throw an attack before tossing a knife out. Thankfully, MP does regenerate passively. With the standard knife toss attack, you can still go a bit wild. Actually, you can go ham, really. You have to be a maniac to run out of MP, really. But powerful special attacks can eat a big chunk of MP all at once, like the auto-aim knives cost 30 MP per use. Getting familiar with the stopwatch makes room navigation become silky smooth. It's very satisfying to stop time and gracefully weave through enemies with just enough clearance to slip by them and get rewarded for doing so. So that leads us to the graze system. Grazing an enemy means to get up right close to them, or a projectile, without taking damage. If time is stopped, a graze restores MP and time gauge, and if time is not stopped, a graze will restore HP. I really enjoyed this system, especially when fighting bosses. While it's easy to stop time and graze by a boss, that doesn't regain HP. When a fight is coming down to the wire, it only gets more and more exciting trying to heal by barely getting out of range of the well-telegraphed boss attacks. Snail time makes getting a graze heal easier, but since it takes a couple seconds to charge, it makes the player have to split focus between charging and dodging. I have been absolutely smacked around trying to set up snail time back to back in a boss fight. Not to say the graze system is completely balanced, because when exploring the castle, you will no doubt find a spot, or two, or tons of spots actually, to cheese your way back up to full HP. I mostly found these when moving from room to room, resetting enemies, and noticing easy ways to dodge attacks. Fuck these jellyfish, dealing with this later. Progressing through the game nets you all the classic Metroidvania exploration tools like your double jump and slide.
Increasing the map completion percentage kept me so engaged that I stopped before the final boss to turn around and go explore all my missed areas. The collectible rewards are the main reason I did that. They can increase max HP, MP, time gauge, and the amount of knives throwable during time stop. So navigating the map, every room, every hallway, every sus-looking breakable wall was a joy to experience. Save rooms usually have a vending machine nearby. Running past them, Sakuya drinks a soda, healing her completely, but then drops the can a second later. But I would move heaven and earth before becoming a letter bug. So that means I gotta stop time after drinking the soda, run over to the trash, and properly dispose of the can. Every vending machine has an associated trash bin, and there are some that are tricky to get to. While you don't really get much from doing this, it is accounted for in the map screen, and the trash bins change color. I had fun with this minigame. It was also kind of funny to run all the way over to the trash bin and then have the soda can barely miss and sadly bounce to the floor. There is a shop available in the starting area. It sells consumable items that replenish HP, MP, and time gauge. Those are great to have when exploring, but the real stuff I spent all my money on were the permanent increases to the time gauge and knives available during time stop. Those upgrades are really expensive, and unless you do a money grinding session or two, it'll pretty much mean you never buy consumable items and only save for big purchases. Also, XP is available to buy with in-game money, not real money. I hate that I have to say that, but not real money. But I never found that appealing enough to try compared to the other items. Later in the game, shop tickets can be used to call the merchant directly to your location. I forgot I had tickets most of the time, but I did get a couple uses out of them. The first time got me out of a tough situation with low HP, and the other time it was just easier than backtracking. The consumable healing items come in handy when accidentally passing a save point and exploring for a little too long, or just to help after dealing with some tricky traps and difficult enemy placement. But to buy any items, you've gotta have money. Enemies drop multicolored gems, which is perfect for attacking the innate human urge to collect shiny rocks. These gems serve as indirect currency for the shop. Now I say indirect because you actually have to sell the gems to the shopkeeper for money, and then that money you use to buy items. The reason this has to happen at all is because the gems serve a secondary purpose as well, stat boosting. Every different gem buffs a different stat. You can see which stat each gem corresponds to in the shop menu. And as long as you're holding the gems, you have those specific stats increased. You can actually be very particular in what you sell to make sure you retain the buffs that you want, and trade in gems for the stats you don't want. That way you get the best of both worlds, money for the shop and increased stats from hoarding gems. Now that would be the smart min-maxing move, but if you're me, just say fuck it, we ball, sell all the gems, see what happens. I beat the game doing that, so maybe I'm just built different. A quick aside about saving. Walking by a phone booth saves automatically. There's no menu or loading, so it won't interrupt the gameplay at all. While that does speed things up, I would like to have the option to save to a different file. When playing games, I usually save often and to different files. In some games, I even keep saves as restore points to replay a particular area or boss in the exact same state I had my character in. With Luna Nights, I've not had any crashes, corrupted data, deleted saves, or anything wonky happen. And the Steam Cloud saves work seamlessly between my desktop, Steam Deck, and laptop. With all of that covered, how about we talk about playing the actual video game? The first boss is a simple affair, not too much attack variety, not overly aggressive, and plenty of wiggle room to make openings with snail time. Right after beating the first boss and getting the hang of time stop, the game starts trickling in new ways to play with the ability. Some examples. Spirit Orbs dodge standard knife attacks, Chandeliers fall when crossing under, and Mandragora's attack when walking over. These hazards increase the variety of what time stop can be used for. But even then, more tricks are introduced. Clouds of red mist temporarily disable the stopwatch, and purple outlines denote objects that are not affected by time stop at all. All of these situations and gimmicks make the game mechanic of Time Stop not feel like an overpowered ability, but more of a mandatory part of your toolkit to progress in this castle of magic enemies. But it is overpowered sometimes. The stopwatch is not always the answer. Water cannot be moved through during Time Stop, and some puzzles take advantage of that. Those puzzles are a great way to make the player think and realize that snail time is also viable. It serves as a gentle reminder to those who have forgotten about it, which is what happened to me on my first playthrough. You know, I was so used to stopping time, I forgot that I can slow it down also. This game absolutely kills it in the sound department. The OST ranges from soothing shopkeeper theme to high energy post-game level to frantic boss battle. I really enjoyed the music, and I have a lot of these tracks saved on my phone. But even beyond the great exploration and music, there are also a ton of satisfying sound effects. Some of the best are the chainsaw, the 1,000 daggers, and time stop activation. When time is stopped, music cuts and colors fade, leaving only sound effects in a black and white world. Snail time also does this slow motion sound upon activation, and it fits perfectly. Now, for very specific things that I find neat. Dodging this attack looks impossible, but snail time shows there's a small window to run through the drill. The chainsaw is just like the axe from Castlevania, but because it hits multiple times and looks cool, I like it better. The grip knife ability is one of the coolest exploration abilities I've ever used in any game at all. It has use in combat and exploration by making it possible to stand on your thrown knives during time stop. With enough time gauge and knives, you can make a staircase up and over a hard to dodge attack, or explore previously unreachable areas of the castle. Before fighting the final boss, I made sure to find all collectibles, completely explore the castle, and buy out the shop of all permanent upgrades to make myself as strong as possible. Even then, I didn't wipe the floor with the boss because this is Toho, and dodging attacks usually looks like some kind of sick joke intended to be played by robots. I cut it close on the third boss. Some of these fights get kinda tricky, especially when getting caught without time stop. It really hurts not having a second to think about how to navigate the next absolutely heinous pattern of incoming bullets. Shout out to Pachuli's 4 tomes shooting out water and fire and dragons. That was wild. Flubbing a couple dodges and missing with a chainsaw or two put me close to dying. The story is mostly composed of dialogue boxes here and there. The real meat is in the phenomenal gameplay loop and boss battles. I hope more people give Luna Knights a try and check out the other Ladybug games. Their Lodos War game is pretty dang fun. I'm like halfway through it, and I just started Blade Chimera, and it's fucking sick, dude. It's so cool. Here is a room that tests management of time gauge, abilities, and platforming skill. It's a big maze with floating jellyfish enemies that respawn quickly. Thankfully, there was a reward at the end, but this was a very difficult room to get through. Hazards get progressively harder to dodge, like with these fast-spinning blades and moving clockwork, you know, the Castlevania special, big clock tower, moving gears. And a special note here for this bunny enemy, they float and make a time stop circle around themselves, which can overlap with other time stop circles. I was very nearly stun locked to death by this. The Remilia fight was awesome. After playing around a bit, I noticed the knives could break specific projectiles. It initially looks like an unnavigable wall of death. Using time stop will send some projectiles back in time to make a good opening to dodge in. Stuff like that makes fights feel like a learning process that you're figuring out in the moment. The area before the final boss required a lot of patience. The stone coins became a problem when shooting out too many projectiles to deal with, Electric traps and spikes also required focus to navigate through with enough HP to make it to a save point. Added difficulty here fits well with the lead up to the final boss. It's challenging, but it's not overwhelming. The final boss at first felt pretty simple. There's a great move variety, and it all looks great coming out of a flying robot. We have projectiles that interact with time stop in different ways, plus a bit of a story twist too, having the shopkeeper be the big bad. I got past the fight with low MP, and I was one hit away from death. Here is footage of me realizing the boss has a second phase.
Oh shit. I'm fucking dead. That was crazy. Am I gonna have to do that first boss again? Oh, I am. Oh fuck, that's why it was easy. No.
But the sickest part is the music change for the second phase, heightening the tension. I think what I like most about music change is subverting the expectation by changing the mood of a once familiar space. Okay, other examples. Pokemon Black and White 2 have the Gym Leader Last Pokemon special theme and low HP themes. Persona 3 has the dorm theme change after an important revelation in the story. Metal Gear Rising, the mid-fight cutscenes are synced up with the music. Master Duel has fucking awesome music. I love the music in Master Duel. It is insane how good it is. I believe it's the same composer who did the Final Fantasy VII Remake music. Alright, the name is Yasunori Nishiki, a Japanese composer. And, man, they worked on a lot of stuff. Octopath, haven't played it. Oh, Gravity Rush 2. Oh, I thought it said Octodad. It's not Octodal. Never Dead. I'm gonna play that game one day. I've only played the first level of Never Dead. Never Dead is such an anomaly. I got like a magazine one time and it had like a Gears of War poster, and on the flip side it was like a Never Dead poster. And by poster I mean it was literally just one page of an ad and I used it like a poster. But that's not what we're talking about. After that, I decided to go explore the map, find upgrades, and level up a bit. I came back stronger, and I was able to win with a lot of help from the Lost Holy Sword Familiar. It's a weapon that uses MP and homes in on enemies all around the screen. Great at clearing out projectiles, leaving the player to focus on dodging and getting snail time charged up. For this fight, managing time gauge is extremely important. Some attacks can be overwhelming, and having time stop to fall back on only works if you don't spam it constantly. Using snail time to dodge fireballs was a solid way to regain HP. Crouching in place dodges the lasers from both sides. The big crystal wing bite looks intimidating, but the trick is actually just stay right in the center and you barely won't get hit. The last phase can probably be done efficiently, but I had enough HP to say fuck it, we ball. I tanked a lot of wild stuff here, and the lingering feeling of having to restart the boss added to the tension and excitement.
MP. Oh no, I need HP now. Oh, I have so much time. I thought that would kill her. Oh. There we go.
Entering the post-game area, I immediately noticed enemies were a lot sturdier. Look at this cat take hits like a champ and beat me up like I'm nothing. The Cyrano fight is flashy and satisfying to dodge through. Also, the music is phenomenal. There's also an easy attack to set up a dodge for that can get you back up to full HP. That makes the fight pretty chill. You can just mess around and have fun and try to look cool. Puzzles got me stumped once or twice in the post-game area. The solution was always something reasonable though. Nothing I looked up online and said, oh man, there's no way I could have figured that out. Just a tip, when playing the post-game, minor spoiler, you could skip like 20 seconds. Watch out for mimics. They look like a save point that's so fucked up. Like, mimics, I thought is like if you go for a treasure, it could be a mimic because you're being greedy. This is just like, I just want to save, bro. Leave me alone. The first time I went through this game, I never really beat the post-game final boss. Well, I mean, I kinda did. It seems like after a while of throwing myself at her, the game showed mercy and a glitch happened. It was with the Lost Holy Sword. It seemed like the hitbox on the sword was always active instead of only when it attacked. It kinda looked like Ocarina of Time's infinite sword glitch.
What is going on with that sword? This doesn't seem right, but I'm just gonna let it ride out and say my victory was my own. Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you get lucky and you win, and it's after an hour of recording, and you just accept it. Impossible. It was.
My second time beating the game, I was more experienced, I got it together, and I bought 9 health potions to carry me through the boss. I can say I beat it normally this time, glitch free. It was fun for sure. This game is fucking cool. That's about it. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I don't know where I'm gonna put this, but the gif of her freezing the frog, that's a good one.